Hello, and welcome to My Point of View Movie Reviews. Today's review is for the remake of Stephen King's Pet Sematary. Now, in 1989, I seen the original. Scared me to death. Me and my homeboys went, and that mug was scary. You had three dudes curled up like little girls screaming and crying damn near. A couple of years later, they came out with a sequel, Pet Sematary 2. I'll never bring that up again. But this new version of Pet Sematary, first of all, let me tell you, it is truly terrifying. Now, we all have certain fears as human beings, and yours might be different from mine, and mine might differ from yours. For one, hate cats. I don't like cats. Cats give me the creeps. There's a cat in this movie named Church. And that cat scared me back in 1989, and it got me again just recently. Now, the premise of this movie, this family moves out into the woods, and on their property, or near their property, is this burial ground, Indian graveyard, and it's named Pet Sematary. And it's weird how they did the spelling. Cemetery is spelled with an S. In an interview with Stephen King, he said it was meant to be that a child wrote the word cemetery. That's why it's spelled with an S and not a C. And it's no secret that a certain animal died, and they heard from the old man, oh, the Pet Sematary, it has grave magic. Anything that dies, you bury it in the Pet Sematary. And it comes back to life. Not quite the same, but it comes back to life. Now, when you got kids and a pet cat that they dearly love, and a tragic thing happens, like a big-ass semi-truck can come and smash that motherfucker, you do not scrape that fool up and go bury its ass in a pet cemetery. You have a proper funeral in a shoebox, and you bury that motherfucker, and that's it. Go get a new cat. Once that's done, the dumbass father takes the cat and buries it in the pet cemetery. I'm not going to go into detail what happens when that cat comes back, but you've seen the previews and you know what happens. If you read the book, you know what happens. If you've seen the 1989 version, you know what happens. What I like about this movie, though I don't agree with it, the family really goes into detail about the afterlife. They talk about it like over a family dinner, like it's okay to talk about this stuff. And they really go deep into the mentos of the afterlife and death and Indian burial grounds and what it means when your spirit carries on to somewhere else. You know, it's really interesting, the take on this movie. Now, the one thing I don't like, the trailer gave away a big twist plot in this movie. The book and the original movie from '89 is a little bit different. And there's a tragic death. And the father again uses his non-better judgment and buries another person in that pet cemetery. And remember, it comes back alive, but it should not be there and alive. And it's not quite the person you think it is. And it comes back with tendencies that are truly haunting. Now, John Lithgow plays the old man that tells all the spooky stories about the Indian graveyard. And he is fantastic in this movie. And the father, very believable. I love his take on the father in the movie. The wife, Rachel. The original scared me to death, but one thing that scared me the most, she had a rough childhood because her sister suffered from spinal meningitis, I think it's called. And it's a horrible disease. You're disfigured, you're decrepit. And the '89 version scared me. The version of this movie, when they show Zelda in flashbacks, is something I cannot get out of my mind. It's horrific. The music is haunting. They got jungle drums and all this ritual music, Indian burial type music. This movie is rich with culture and it's truly haunting, terrifying, terrifying, and it stays with you. When you leave the theater, this movie is engraved in the back of your mind. And it's an amazing movie to watch in a crowded theater full of people. Great date movie. Men and women together will be scared. It's not about trying to be tough, dude. Let your guard down. Be who you're going to be. That little girl in you is going to come out when you watch this movie. Pet Sematary, 1989 version was great, but the new version, 2019, 30 years later is in the making, and this movie is truly a classic. Stephen King still scares people, and the directors of this movie really took their time and really dove deep into the afterlife process to really get you thinking about it. So when it happens, you're not ready for it. You think you are, but you're not. Pet Sematary, go watch it. I advise you. And also, I warn you, because it's truly terrifying. Until the next time, like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. As always, it's just my point of view.